What's going on, everybody? And in today's video we have tips and tricks that are going to help you get better at MXGP 2021. Before we get into the video, I just want to say that these are in no particular order, but I will be explaining on which tip and trick is better than the other or which one is more important. So without further ado, let's just get right into the video. First up, we have the wheelie / scrub glitch. You mainly do this over small or medium sized jumps. So the wheelie and the scrub glitch are two different things, but you can also combine them in this game to really improve your lap times, but at the same time it is very tricky. So how you do the wheelie glitch is you just basically pull back on both your sticks and you pop a wheelie, and then as you're coming up to the jump you push both your sticks forward and it kind of just slingshots your bike forward over the jump. It's essentially a scrub, but you're just wheeling and then putting your front tire over the front of the jump. The scrub glitch is basically doing a half scrub, that's the best way I can describe it as, or a fake scrub. So in this game, if you want to do a scrub, you obviously just push both your sticks together or apart, depending on which way you want to throw the bike. But it is very hard to control your scrubs in this game. So if you want to do a scrub glitch, you kind of have to do a half scrub. It is very hard to describe. And on certain jumps, you can combine the wheelie and scrub glitch, and it will make you even more faster, depending on which jump you do it on and how you execute it. I will put a hand cam video on screen right now of me doing the wheelie and scrub glitch. Hopefully this gives you guys a better idea of how to do the whip and scrub glitch, because again, I can't really explain it too well, so it will take some time to get down, but once you do, it will definitely make you a lot quicker, and I highly recommend you try this out. This is arguably the most important trick or tip in the whole entire video. Running the right camera is, in my opinion, a very important thing, but to most people it probably seems kind of minor and all about personal preference, which it kind of is personal preference, but in MXGP 2021 I would recommend using third person, not first person, and I also recommend using the more zoomed in third person camera, because the third person camera that is more zoomed out makes the game feel so heavy, so weird. It gives the feeling that you're on ice for some reason. It also feels like you're just pushing wide everywhere you go on the game. It might sound like I'm overreacting, but I just do not like the feel of the more zoomed out third person camera. It has a weird movement to it, and I think it really affects the way you play the game, and it can make you make even more mistakes, in my opinion, at least from my experience. I recommend using the more zoomed in third person camera. It has a nice flow to it. You will have to get used to the camera zooming in and out when you are coming out of corners, slowing down, speeding up. So if you're using the more zoomed out third person camera, just switch to the zoomed in one and put some practice in with it, get used to it, because it is a lot better. You can run first person in the game, but I do not recommend using it, simply because you can't tell what your back end is doing, and that's all I pretty much have to say about this. You should be using advanced physics in MXGP 2021. In this first clip, I'm using advanced physics, and in the next clip, I will be showing you what standard looks like. You may not be able to notice too much of a difference, but long story short, standard physics basically assists you in moving the bike around in the air, helping you keep the bike straight so you don't go flying off the track or lose control like crazy, which sounds kind of nice, but I think standard physics just kind of holds you back a little bit too much. It kind of restricts your freedom when playing the game, if that makes sense. It seems like whenever you move the bike in the air, it really wants to go back to straight, and you can't really maneuver the bike as much as you can in advance, so you're going to be losing out on some freedom moving the bike and kind of putting it where you want to, simply because it just wants to stay straight. You can still go kind of quick on standard physics, but you're definitely losing time. If you want to set fast time trial laps or just go balls to the wall, then you're going to be losing time on standard physics. Advanced physics is kind of the opposite of standard. Basically, you're going to be falling over in corners a lot easier, sliding out. You have way more control of the bike in air, going through rollers and stuff like that, which overall is just much better if you want to put the bike where you want it, get fast laps, and just go a lot quicker. I don't think standard physics is horrible, but advanced physics is definitely the way to go. Manual transmission is probably, if not the most important thing you should be using in MXGP 2021 if you want to be going fast, faster, whatever it may be. This also applies to using no assists in the game as well. I think when everybody hears the word using manual, doing it by yourself, they kind of get intimidated in a way, but in MXGP 2021 it's very easy to play the game without assists, manual transmission, all that kind of shit. Now yes, I am one of the better players at this game, so obviously it is going to be a bit easier for me, and since I have practiced a lot at the game, but trust me when I say this, using manual transmission takes very little time to learn, and using no assists such as rider weight, joint brakes, all that stuff, turn it all off and just use the game with no assist, because you really do do not need them in this game. In my opinion, all the assists do in this game is really just kind of slow you down in the long run. It may help you out in the beginning if you're just getting used to the game or you're a new player, but if you're looking to improve your skills, just turn them off. It's not like the F1 games where you have to spend 100 hours just to learn how to use no traction control. It's not like that. You can spend an hour or two using manual transmission and you will get the hang of it. Same thing goes for all the other assists. The main reason why I recommend you do not use automatic transmission is because it always loves to have you in the wrong gear and pretty much everywhere on the track. It doesn't like to shift quick enough and it likes to downshift way too much. As far as joint brakes, this one's not as bad to use, but I really would recommend, again, not having it on, because the back brake in this game, you really do not need to use it at all. Only a couple corners on some of the tracks you may need to use it, but for the most part, I'd say about 95% of this game you do not need to use your back brake. Have your front brake and rear brake set to different buttons so that whenever you do need to use your rear brake, you can just use it separately. I personally have my front brake set to my left trigger and my rear brake set to my A button. I am on Xbox, just in case you were wondering. But this comes down to personal preference wherever you do like the back brake to be and the front brake. All personal preference. Again, believe me when I say this, using no assist and manual transmission is just the way to go. It'll improve your lap times and it'll make you a better player for sure. Now, I already have a bike setup video guide on my channel if you do want to check that out, but I will go over a couple things quick here in this video. The bike setup is not entirely that important if you want to get better at the game. It is mainly just for setting quick time trial laps. In my personal opinion, I don't think it really is going to make you a better player if you get an amazing bike setup, only if you want to set insane lap times. But if you are looking for a bike setup, again, I have one on my channel in another video. The most important thing that you want to be changing with the bike setup, in my opinion, is the gear ratio. Mess around with that a bunch till you get whatever you think is right and whatever you enjoy the most. I recommend using short gear ratio pretty much on most of the tracks, except if you're going on Lommel or Latvia, that maybe stick it up to medium. I think long in this game just does not work too well. And keep in mind that certain bikes may react differently depending on how you set them up. Certain bikes like the Husqvarna, if you have it in short gear ratio, I find you have to shift it a lot more. Compared to the KTM, if you have that bike on short, I find you still don't have to shift that bike too much. It works pretty well on the KTM. So again, each bike may react differently depending on how you set it up. So yeah, gear ratio is the main thing you want to be focusing on. Everything else is very minor, so don't worry too much about those things. The clutch in MXGP 2021 is surprisingly very good. When you get used to using the clutch and you get it dialed in, it is actually going to make you faster in this game. Unlike previous milestone motocross games, the clutch was very non-existent, and I don't think a lot of people really used the clutch that much in previous games. If you haven't been using it in MXGP 2021, I recommend it. Going into corners, especially berms, if you are kind of tapping the clutch, holding it at certain points, it is going to help you keep your line, stay on the track, avoid mistakes, and allow you to ride a lot smoother. It essentially is almost like a brake, but it keeps the bike stable and allows for great control. I had to go on Lommel just to show you guys a couple examples, but the clutch just shoots you out of corners if you tap it, hold it for a second, then let it go. And I pretty much use it in every single corner in this game. That is not a lie. It has basically become a habit now just to use the clutch because it is that good in this game. So again, if you are not using the clutch, start using it, start abusing it, because it's just going to make you faster. Now I'm going to give you guys a couple pointers on how to hit your corners in this game, mainly the ones with 3 lines, that being the inside, middle, and outside berm, because obviously the corners are where you're going to make up most of your time in this game. It is all about corner speed for sure. The hardest part about MXGP 2021 is hitting the inside, middle berms, getting good speed carried through them, and hitting them consistently. What you're mainly going to want to do is, as you enter a corner, I would not recommend using both sticks to turn. In previous games you would just kind of hold both of them and you would be good, but in MXGP 2021 you mainly want to be turning with the left stick as you're entering berms, and as you're coming into a berm you want to give the right stick a little bit of a flick, and it should set your line up pretty well. So if you come into a corner and you mess up your line, give the right stick a little flick, and sometimes you may have to give it 2 or 3 flicks just to adjust your angle, but you mainly only need to give the right stick 1 flick, and you just want to be turning with the left stick, as I said. Also, sometimes when you enter a berm or a corner, you want to be holding in your clutch, and as you exit the corner, letting it go, and it will give your guy a nice slingshot out of the corner. Or if you find your line is good, you can just give it a quick tap as you're exiting the corner, and it will give your guy a little bit of a boost, and at the same time it'll keep you from looping the bike out. So if you are losing a bit of control, just tap the clutch, give it a little bit of a hold, and your guy should not lose as much control. It really does not matter which gear you are in entering a berm. I recommend first or second, but you can also be in third gear depending on what gear ratio you are running. So I will put up a hand cam video right now of me hitting the berms just to give you guys a better idea of how I do it. So some corners may feel different from others because some of the corners in this game do not let you turn as well for some reason. I think it's a bit of a glitch. But as you can see, most of the corners, if they are slow speed corners, I like to go into first gear, kind of give the right stick a flick and turn with the left and tap the clutch as I exit the corner. If you're coming into a medium speed corner, I recommend second gear because first gear will slow you down just a bit too much, or you can use third depending on what your gear ratio is, like I said. And as you're coming into the outside berms, second or third gear again is the better option. So just take your time, take it slow, because it may take a bit of time to get used to it, because hitting the berms in this game, especially on some of the tracks, is not too easy, and put in the practice. Preloading is not as entirely important in MXGP 2021. I feel it doesn't shoot you as far as it did in previous games, but if you are preloading in MXGP 2021, it will still shoot you just a little bit further than if you are not preloading. It is mainly useful for big booters on custom tracks. How you preload is just pull back on both your sticks and let go as you leave the face of the jump. You can also do this while wheeling, and it is a bit more effective that way. Keeping your back end on the ground is the last tip for this video. This really only applies in roller sections such as tracks like OSS or Autobiano, etc. You're not really going to be using this anywhere else on the game, mainly just in the roller sections. All you have to do to execute this technique is you just kind of lean back with the right stick and move it to the side as you're going over a roller, and it will kind of keep your back end on the ground, as you can see in the video. This will definitely improve your lap times, and it's not too hard to do at all. It is essentially the same thing as doing a scrub over the jump. Instead, you're just kind of keeping the bike really low on a roller instead of going in the air and losing time that way. So that's pretty much all I have to say for this tip and tricks video. I did hope you enjoyed. I tried to include everything that I could possibly think of. Some of the things may be leaning towards my opinion or my preferences, but most of the stuff in this video will be guaranteed to help you out and improve your lap times for sure. Let me know if it does help you out and improve your lap times, or if you disagree with anything, or if you found your own tips that I maybe missed in this video. Feel free to comment them down below. But anyways, that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed, and take care.